everybody. Actually, it's afternoon.
Here.
In case you hadn't figured it out by now, we are in Canyonlands National Park, and we are about to start the White Rim Trail, the reason for this whole trip. So let me just show you where we're about to scale.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Here we are on the White Rim, the top of our bucket list of Moab trails. And riding along with us this trip is an old friend of mine, Scott and his wife Lynette. Scott and I worked together several years ago, but both of us ended up getting other jobs, and Scott eventually moved out here to Utah. We haven't seen each other in a long time. Well, I just happened to see him post a picture on Facebook of them camping with their 4Runner all decked out in overland fashion. So I messaged him about doing the White Rim with us, and he jumped at the chance. We're extremely happy, not only to get to see an old friend, but also that we're not going to be in the backcountry by ourselves. This ought to be an exciting adventure. Hope you enjoy the ride along with us.
the bottom. That's pretty.
You got it. Continental cut. New cut.
Well, that was exciting. Being it was our first big shelf road, I have to admit it was a little intimidating at first. We traveled a few shelf roads on the rim rocker, but nothing like this one. It's really not that bad once you get used to it. It was quite fun, actually. And once we got to the bottom, we were ready to do it again. Maybe next time we'll ride it from bottom to top. As you saw a few seconds ago, we took a left to stay on the Schaefer Trail. We're going to cut this day short so we can get a fresh start on the White Rim in the morning. We reserved the Schaefer campsite so we will be close to the White Rim, and we're headed there now. Now, I don't know much about this campsite, but I'm sure it won't be disappointing considering all this amazing scenery on our way there.
Sit on that side. I don't know. I guess just.
You want your awning facing each other? Or?
Yeah, I guess.
All right, folks. We are here at our Schaefer campsite. First day of our journey. We just picked a campsite just right at the bottom of the Schaefer switchbacks, so we could. We had to camp somewhere before we started the White Rim, so let me just show you around here. This is pretty nice, and it's probably going to be the worst of our campsites. Nice little canyon right here. I think maybe a bigger canyon over here. That, well, actually no, that's the Schaefer Trail when we turn around going to the White Rim. All right, well, we're getting camp set up. I'm here with an old friend, Scott, that I used to work with, and we were so glad that they were just happened to be in the area, so we didn't have to do this White Rim by ourselves. So all right, well, we'll catch back with you tomorrow on the trail. All right, folks, we are packed up, ready to vacate the Schaefer camp. Get you one more look at it. We're getting back on the White Rim and headed down to White Crack campsite today, which should be the most spectacular of the trip. All right, we'll catch you on the trail.
Well, it wasn't long after we left camp before we started running into some amazing scenery. And what we will find out over the next couple of days is that the 72-mile White Rim Trail is one spectacular view after the next. We're coming up on a couple of those popular viewpoints now. So we're going to get out, stretch the legs a bit, and do some exploring. And remember, the videos never do it justice. These spots are breathtaking. You'll just have to come out and see for yourself.
I guess that's the Green River down there, or the Colorado?
I don't know.
Man, you're supposed to know all this.
Picture of you out on that rock?
It's that's not the iconic one.
That's not it.
Forgot what they call this point. Yeah, I don't know. Green Colorado River overlook. Wow, that's pretty. I think we're getting close to where we can't go anymore. I don't think we're going to get over to that one. Nice.
That's right.
Alright, so we're coming up on Muscleman Arch. No, I'm not going to walk out on that. They say not to. How cool is that? If you were going to walk across, that would be it.
guessing we're around 20 miles into the trail, give or take 5 miles or so. It's hard to keep track when you're in the back country. The trail has been nothing short of spectacular, and the best is yet to come. Although I can't imagine anything beating the view from the Schaefer switchbacks. I knew we would be close to the canyon's edge coming down those switchbacks, but I had no idea how close we would come to all the other ledges as we made our way around the rim. Pretty exciting stuff. The trail itself hasn't been very technical, but I believe that will change as we get close to Murphy Hogback. And I was also alerted to washouts in the upheaval bottom area, which should be interesting as well. We won't be showing you any of that in this episode because the furthest we will make it today is the White Crack campsite, which is just shy of halfway, give or take 10 miles. We were very lucky to get this campsite. It was like buying tickets online to a high-profile concert. The day I originally wanted was gone within seconds of the reservations opening up. I quickly grabbed the next day and was also able to get Labyrinth for the following day. When I refreshed the screen, everything was gone. Now these reservations open up 6 months in advance, so if you're planning on doing the White Rim, you better be ready because they were all booked within 15 minutes. Well, that's enough talk for now. Enjoy the next song as we continue on.
Guess we follow them, right?
I think that ends right there.
Yeah, they're actually going slower than you are.
Amazing.
I'm old and slow, what can I say?
I'm just kidding. Yeah, this is the right route. I've got it on the GPS.
It would make a really cool picture with those red, white, and blue forerunners.
Yeah, it would.
That's right. supposed to be the primo spot here. There she blows. Alright. Let's go see what this epic spot looks like. How about that? Did I do good or what?
Yes, you are the man.
Folks, we have made it here to White Crack Campground, and I was told, I researched that this was the primo spot, and it does not disappoint. Let me show you this.
How about this campsite? And the Schaefer camp was no slouch either. As you look out over the White Rim Plateau, you see that it is filled with dozens of pillars of Oregon shale capped with blocks of White Rim sandstone. The camp itself was named after a crack in the sandstone just below the campsite. A truly spectacular place. It has been an amazing experience so far, and tomorrow should be even better as we traverse 3 of the most technical parts of the trail on our way to the Labyrinth campsite. It's been a blast hanging out with Scott and Lynette, but I have to say, we are a little jealous that they are only hours from this area, yet we are days away. Maybe we'll move out here one day too. Something to think about. We hope you've enjoyed the ride along with us so far, and we invite you to tune in next time as we finish the White Rim Trail. As for now, keep it on the road less traveled. Dusty Buns Overland and Adventures.